Shabbat Shalom to everyone. My name is Uriel Romano. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and these are my last 2 weeks working here at Hillcrest Jewish Center with Rabbi Manes Kogan. And it's not only the end of my trip, but we are getting almost to the end of the book of Exodus. We are in Parashat Vayekhel. Last week in Parashat Kitisa, we saw the scene about the making of the golden calf, the Egel Asaf, the anger of God, and the breaking of the tablets by Moshe Rabbeinu. And now this week is called Parashat Vayekhel. And Vayekhel means reunion. What Moshe does at the beginning of this parasha is reunite the people of Israel. After the disagreements and all things that happened last week, now it's time to reunite ourselves. And the first commandment of Moshe in this parasha is about Shabbat, the day of Shabbat. And telling the people of Israel about Shabbat, he says, "Lo tebaru esh bechol meshvoteichem beyom Shabbat." You shall kindle no fire throughout your settlements on the Shabbat day. This is a very unusual way to talk about Shabbat, because the general laws about Shabbat were already stated in the Torah. Why over here in Parashat Vayekhel, Moshe says to the people of Israel, during Shabbat, you shall not kindle any fire. What's the real meaning behind this pasuk? So the rabbi says that the fire that Moshe is talking about is not the fires of our kitchen that we should not kindle during Shabbat, but it's the fire, the esh of machloket, of the disagreements, of the discussion. Because last week in Parashat Kitisa, the people of Israel, the tribes of Levi, fight against the other tribes of Israel, and were a lot of disagreements. We should do the golden calf, we should not do it, what should we do? So now it's time to let aside all that fire, the fire of the disagreements and the discussions. In Hebrew, it's called the esh of machloket. Shabbat is time to let aside our anger, our disagreements, and our discussions, our envy, and all that stuff that we get during all the week, that we produce over all the week. Because the Torah states, during 6 days of the week, you should work, and on the 7th day, on Shabbat, you should rest. The Torah acknowledges the human condition. The Torah knows that in our everyday life, we will get angry with each other. We could envy other person. We could disagree with each other. We could have many discussions, because that is how we human beings are. But the Torah also states that one day of the week, that fire that burns in us should be let aside. And that's the real fire that we should not kindle during Shabbat. Because the Torah says Shabbat is really Shabbat Shabbaton, the rest of the rest. And the rabbis understand that one of the rest is the most usual one that we refrain of doing. Menuchat haguf, the rest of the body. Maybe it's easy not to kindle any fire in our kitchens or in the car during the 24 hours of Shabbat. But the real purpose of Shabbat is the other one. Menuchat hanefesh, the rest of our souls. Are we able to let aside for a couple of hours, one day during the week, our anger, our disagreements, our discussions, and bring a little rest to our souls? And I think that's the real ideal and purpose of Shabbat. Enabling ourselves for 24 hours to not to kindle any fire. So I wish you all a happy Shabbat, a Shabbat of rest, of work of your hands, and also the work of your souls. Shabbat Shalom.